Chapter 1. Late afternoon settled over Maple Street in a kind of gold that softened edges without changing anything underneath. The Dawson house sat just off the road, quiet in the way a place gets when it's been empty just long enough to notice. Across the yard, the White family waited. Noah stood near the drive, ready without moving. Margaret had set an empty box on the porch steps, as if preparation mattered before the work began. Oscar sat on the low stone border, tapping his heel in a rhythm that came and went as he pleased. Jack stood closer to the driveway than the porch, not separate, just not in the middle of things. He had come straight from his shift. The uniform shirt was gone, but the day still showed in the way he held himself. An engine sounded before the truck appeared. Everyone looked up. The moving truck pulled in first. The Dawson car followed. Gravel shifted, engines cut, stillness held for a moment. Then doors opened. Pete stepped down from the truck. Lois stepped out of the car. Already taking everything in, Georgia came out fast, hopping down and turning in a quick circle before moving toward the yard. "Georgia," Lois called. "I'm here," she called back. Already going, Virginia stepped out more slowly, shut the door behind her, and reached for a small box without a word. Oscar met her halfway and took the other side. They carried it together. Then Caroline came out fast, not rushed, just already in motion. She caught the doorframe as she stepped down, turned, and saw him. Jack saw her. Everything else dropped back a step. He moved without thinking. She didn't slow. "Jack." She crossed the yard straight into him. The hug landed solid, immediate. He caught her without hesitation, stepping into it fully, one hand firm at her back, the other around her shoulders. He held her a fraction longer than expected. Then she pulled back. He looked at her. "It's better with you here." Her smile deepened. "Well," she said, breath catching slightly, "that's a very good start." Still in the driveway. "That doesn't cancel it." "No," he said, lighter now. "It doesn't." The yard came back to life around them. Margaret reached Caroline. Pete moved for the truck. Noah stepped in beside him. Lois began directing. Georgia carried something small with great importance. Virginia moved quietly. Already working, Oscar stayed near her pace. Jack turned, lifted a box, and carried it toward the porch. The work took hold. Boxes moved from truck to porch to inside, until the house began to fill with sound and motion again. Caroline moved through it all, talking, laughing, shifting direction without slowing. "And I refuse to lose the entire kitchen before we even find it." "I heard that," Lois called. "That was meant for you," Caroline called back. Georgia intercepted Jack once. "I'm helping." "I can see that. These are important." "Then we'll be careful." Inside, the house began to take shape. Boxes lined the walls. Furniture found temporary places. Voices carried from room to room. Caroline caught him near the doorway. "You smiled." Yes, that seems unlikely." "It happened. Don't get used to it." Too late. They moved together without deciding to. Out, back in, out again. Pete and Noah handled the heavier pieces. Margaret adjusted where things landed. Lois rearranged what had just been set down. Virginia carried linens. Oscar followed with a lamp, held carefully in both hands. Georgia asked questions without waiting for answers. The truck emptied, piece by piece, until Pete stepped down from the ramp. "That's the last of it." Inside or out? Caroline asked. Out. Then we're not done, she said, already turning back inside. Jack carried one more stack in and set it down. When he came back out, Pete was folding the ramp. Noah stood nearby. Caroline came down the steps again. You're not done, she said. I noticed. Good, she turned, then looked back. Come on. Followed her inside. They worked the bedroom until it made sense, not finished, just possible. The bed set against the wall they chose. Boxes shifted enough to move through the room. A window cracked open. Caroline stepped back, hands on her hips. That's better. It is. If anyone moves it, I'm moving it back. Jack nudged the frame a fraction straighter. I saw that. Didn't. I absolutely did. Looks fine. She smiled. Come on. Where? Outside. The back steps were cooler, shaded, quieter than the front of the house. Caroline came out first. 2 glass bottles hooked through her fingers. She handed one to him. He took it. Cold, condensation already forming. They sat not close, not far, just enough space. She took a drink. He did the same. You always did this, she said. What? Disappear when everything gets loud? I didn't disappear. You did. Right here. She glanced at him. Now you are. I got the job, she said. Here, she nodded. Local hospital. They said they needed someone who could keep up. That sounds right. Looked at her. Yeah, she rolled the bottle in her hands. Everyone keeps saying it like it's a warning. It kind of is. I know. I don't mind the work, she said. You won't. I know I won't. She looked out over the yard. It's the driving I don't love. Take you. She turned to him. Take you, he said, and bring you back. You don't have to do that. I know. That's a lot of driving. Already up half those hours. She studied him. You're serious? Yeah. You don't even know my schedule yet. Tell me, she let out a breath. That seems like a lot. It's not. It is. It's not. She shook her head, softer now. You always do that. Something and act like it was obvious. It is obvious to you. That's enough. She looked at him longer this time, then nodded. Okay, he nodded back inside. Something dropped. Voices followed. George's voice rose above the rest before being pulled back down. Caroline smiled toward the sound. They're not going to slow down, are they? No. Good. More minutes, she said. Then we go back in. Yeah. They finished their drinks, stood at the same time. She bumped his shoulder lightly as she passed. Disappear again. I won't. Good. She went inside. Jack followed. The house had shifted again. Less chaos, more shape. Lois worked through the kitchen. Margaret sorted near the front room. Virginia handed books to Oscar, who stacked them carefully. Georgia moved through everything at once. Jack, Margaret called. Move this table just a little. He did. Not there, Lois called. There, Caroline said at the same time. That doesn't help, he said. It helps me. It helps me if it's 2 inches left, Margaret said. He shifted it. There, she said. Lois appeared, looked once. That's fine. Pete laughed from down the hall. Write it down. The work settled into something steadier, not rushed now, placed, adjusted, lived into. Caroline passed him again with a stack of clothes. You're coming tomorrow. Yeah, early. Sounds threatening. It is. Then yeah. She smiled and kept moving later. Pete leaned against the doorway. That's enough for today. No, Caroline said. Yes, Lois said. That's the first sensible thing anyone said, Pete replied. Margaret stood. We'll come back tomorrow after church. Not unpacking after church, Lois said. We're helping, Margaret said. That's different. Lois considered it. That is technically true, Pete grinned. I take the win. Noah moved quietly, stacking what needed stacking. Virginia closed the last box she was working through. Oscar stood beside her. Georgia bounced once in place and was immediately corrected. "Tomorrow," Caroline said. "Tomorrow," Jack answered. People began to gather themselves. Margaret found her sweater. Noah held the door. Virginia moved one last item. Georgia discovered she was hungry. Pete stood on the porch beside Jack. "Good to have everybody back," Pete said. Jack glanced toward the front room where Caroline's voice carried. "Yeah." Pete clapped his shoulder and went back inside. Goodbyes came quickly. "Tomorrow," Margaret said. "Early," Lois added. Caroline groaned. Georgia hugged Margaret. Virginia stood beside Oscar near the door. Pete shook Noah's hand. Lois thanked everyone. The screen door opened and shut. The yard quieted. Jack stayed near the steps inside. Something moved then. Jack turned. Caroline stood just inside the doorway. A folded quilt over one arm, a box against her hip. "What?" "Tomorrow," she said. "Don't let Mama boss you before I get the chance." "That sounds unlikely." "It does." She shifted the box. Then softer "thank you." For today, looked at her. For everything it had been, the steps, for the bottle. Deciding something for her without asking. "Yeah," he said, then clearer, "I meant it." Expression quieted. "I know." Someone called her from deeper in the house. Coming, she looked at him once more. "Tomorrow." "Tomorrow." She stepped back. The screen door swung, settled. Jack turned and crossed the yard. The house behind him no longer felt paused. It felt lived in. And when Margaret asked if everyone had what they needed for the night, he answered without looking back, "They do."